Hello, good afternoon guys. Welcome to MK Community Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video, I'm going to explain to you about the bleeding control basic course overview and what it is and how to take the course. First thing first, this is the 1 hour course. It's very effective, good course to take. You can go to bleedingcontrol.org as right there, and you can see if your local healthcare providers are offering the course. My course was offered by Maimonides Hospital. They offer this course. It's an effective course. A certified person teaches the course. It's very good. You'll learn a lot. You'll basically learn how to control basic bleeding and everything else what you need to know to save a person's life. So I'm going to go over certain things in this course. This is contact page. If you want to know which contact page, obviously you're free to follow this course. So obviously the first thing you need to know is what you need to do. There's three main things you need to know. You need to be alert, you need to know where the bleeding is coming from, and you need to compress the bleeding. So obviously we're going to go over all three, A, B, and C's, right now, soon in the later part of the video. But these are the basics that you need to know. Just keep in mind, if you ever have a situation, you need to follow these three alphabets. Obviously, you need to have a clean clot or gauge pad. Or if you have a first aid trauma kit, you could use that as well. If you have a tourniquet, that works as well. Or if you don't have a clean cloth, just use any cloth that you got. And if you don't have a gauze pad, obviously, then you can use any cloth that's clean and not like dirty or anything like that, with sanitized. Always make sure the scene is safe before you go into the person. You don't want to go there and actually risk your own life as well. You want to be making sure everything is safe, so you could go to the person and save that person's life. Always wear gloves as well. If you have gloves, make sure you wear gloves, because there have been many cases where blood goes into blood, and guess what? The person's infected now with whatever the person was carrying. So you don't want to do that. You want to protect yourself and protect others as well. Wearing gloves is one of the very effective ways for not to get contracted with any type of diseases. The first A is call 911 yourself, or tell somebody to call 911. That's one of the main things. If there's a group of 5 people and everyone's trying to help, who's really calling 911? So somebody has to take initiative, take the leadership, tell somebody to call 911. So this way, somebody calls 911, the other person doing that, one other person has to call out and tell people, like, you know what, call 911, just do it, please. And that person who's not calling 911 should be helping them out. If an emergency personnel, such as a police officer or an EMT, might come and just help and take it from there. The second, the alphabet, which is the letter B, is find the bleeding. Where is the bleeding coming from? If you see it from their clothes, you could try, it's covered in blood. Obviously, that's where the bleeding is coming from. Rip open the clothes and see where the bleeding is, and try it. If you have a gauze pad or any type of clean cloth, compress the bleeding so that you can control the bleeding this way. That's one way. Remove the clothing. If you have some pair of scissors, a lot of people carry the first aid trauma kit. You have scissors, you have a lot of stuff. Use that to open it up and actually compress the bleeding by pushing down the clean cloth. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Yep. What is life-threatening bleeding? Well, there's many different, let's say, category can become a life-threatening bleeding, as all these 7 pictures could show you to you. If your blood is sprouting like crazy, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the main. You'll see it. Blood that won't stop coming out of the wound. Like, other than sprouting blood, the person has his hand on the blood, but the blood is still keep coming out and on. It's not stopping. That's another main issue. Blood that is pooling on the ground. That's another one. Obviously, the person's not unconscious. Blood is pooling on the ground. That's one. Clothing that is soaked with blood, another factor that's life-threatening. Bandages that are soaked with blood, a person has put the bandages on, but the blood keeps on coming out, or soaked with blood, that's the reason as well. Loss of some part of their arm or leg, obviously, and you see the blood pulling up again. Or the person lost so much blood, it's conscious, but, was confused and does not know what's going on. Or it actually just became unconscious. That's one of the major life-threatening signs. The last one, alphabet, is compress. Obviously, these are the key points to remember. If you don't have a trauma kit or first aid kit, just keep in mind it's apply direct pressure on the wound, on that person's wound, and make sure you're controlling the bleeding. And obviously, if you do have a trauma kit for life-threatening bleeding for arm or leg, just apply the tourniquet, which I will explain later on. For life-threatening bleeding again for arm or leg, just put the gauze pad as well to control the bleeding on especially on the arms, legs, and necks where the tourniquet would not be effective. You can use a gauze pad to put over there, which controls the bleeding as well. So this is some direct pressure on the wound. If you don't have a first aid trauma kit, just take out your piece of cloth, shirt, whatever it is, and just take that chunk and push the pressure on the wound to try to control the bleeding. Apply continuous pressure with both hands on top of the bleeding wound. Push down as hard as you can. It's going to obviously hurt that person by doing so, but you're trying to save that person's life. Obviously, keep it on until one of the medical EMT personnel or an emergency personnel arrives. Now, again, if you do actually have a trauma kit, now this is where the tourniquet comes in. Apply the tourniquet if you haven't. Obviously, the tourniquet's always 2 to 3 inches above the bleeding site. Above the, you tie it as tight as you can. That's like it shows over here. Pull the end of the tourniquet to make sure tight as possible. Secure the free end. Twist the wind of the tourniquet until the bleeding stops. The bleeding will stop. Secure the wind glass to keep the tourniquet tight, and note the time the tourniquet was applied. The reason for that is for the doctors. Because let's say if you're in the situation where you apply the tourniquet and you don't really put the time, obviously the EMT, wherever you are in New York City, I should say, if you're not gonna take hours to go to the hospital, you will be there within a matter of minutes. So it won't. A lot of people will not put time. But like other states where some of the places where hospitals are a little bit far away, putting the time will help out the doctor know that it's been this long, the tourniquet's been put on, and the doctor can estimate and actually go from there if the person needs extra blood or whatever the case is. It helps out a lot. A lot of people that don't have tourniquets, let's say be a situation where you don't have a tourniquet, a lot of people will use homemade tourniquets such as a belt or any type of tight rope or anything like that will control the bleeding. It's not as effective as a tourniquet, but it will do help out control the bleeding if you do not really have a tourniquet. Wound packing and direct pressure. If you do not have a trauma first aid kit, obviously for life-threatening bleeding for arm or leg, if the tourniquet is unavailable, or for any life-threatening bleeding from the neck, shoulder, or groin, just pack stuff the wound with bleeding control gauze, also called hemorrhaging gauze. Place gauze with a clean cloth and then apply pressure with both hands. Open the clothing over the bleeding wound. Just if you have a scissor, use a scissor, whatever it is, because you don't want to, put the pressure on some type of pants or something. Because you will not have a good pressure on it. Cut the little bit part of it so that you can see the wound where the blood is coming from. Wipe the pool from around the area. Put the direct pressure on the wound. And obviously you want to keep on doing that, or you will try to put that hemorrhage inside the wound as possible if you can. Cut it and put the pressure inside it and put pressure on it. This way, if the gauze goes a little bit inside the open cut of the wound, it will control not from bleeding from the inside, from the outside as well, and will help out you guys in the long run. This is a section summary. What we talked about, obviously, whichever way it goes. For example, if you're assuring your safety, you look for life-threatening bleeding. Is a trauma kit available? Yes or no? It goes both ways. Basically, what we were talking about is just putting it on a chart. And the only thing more tragic than a death from bleeding is a death that could have been prevented, which is so true. If you know that death could have been prevented and you were at the situation where you could have prevented a person's saving a life, it makes a big difference. That's actually a win goal of everyone in that situation. Did you help save somebody's life? Always make sure, remember with the 3 C's, always make sure somebody call 911, you make sure the scene is safe. You obviously make sure where the bleeding is coming from, and then you do compressions, try to control the other person if you can. With that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the small course. Obviously, watching this course is not really going to make you a certified bleeding control expert, but if you actually go and take the course, it's a 1-hour course. You take the course, it's fun. It's a fun day. You have a hands-on experience. At the end of the day, you learn actually how to control, with bleeding basics. You know what you have to do if a situation like that does arise. You learn how to use a tourniquet. You learn how to pack a wound. It does help. It's very effective. With that said, guys, thank you again, guys, for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or concern about this or anything else, please comment, like, subscribe. My part, I will try my best to do whatever I can to answer your questions or to help you out. Again, the website is www.bleedingcontrol.org. Go on it, register for a course. You will not be disappointed. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.